This business is like the Wild West. Gold, silver, rare coins, lost treasures of history. You never know what's gonna walk through that door. Oh!
It's a Civil War sword.
I got robbed at gunpoint.
Watch this.
I'm Evan Kale, and this is Pawn Man. Guys, we have a great video in store. Before we get into it, number one, if you guys like what I do, if you want to continue to support this channel and make it so there's no further delays in videos coming out, please consider becoming a Pawn Man Patreon. For $1 a month, you get early access to my videos. We have different tiers, $1, $5, $10, whatever you can give to help this channel. I do hate asking, but these videos are really expensive to have made. I'm currently not making money on this channel, and I really do need help because I am paying a lot of money to make these videos that seem to entertain and educate you guys. So again, patreon.com/pawnman to support me. We're also going to be starting written blog posts on there. Become a Patreon. And also, I want to thank the episode sponsor, once again, Bong Water Beverage Company. Bong Water is a THC-infused drink that tastes amazing. Hits you in about 10 minutes. Other edibles take hours. Check out Bong Water Beverage Company if you're a fan of THC products, if you live in Minnesota, Oklahoma, Missouri, Kansas, parts of Texas, parts of Wisconsin. I hear it is kind of hard to find in Texas and Wisconsin. Must be 21 years of age or older to consume. The link to Bong Water Beverage Company's website is in the video description. So is a link to my Patreon. And with that, you guys, let's get into a great video. All right, let's take a look what you got.
Few kind of interesting documents. This one is Pledge of Allegiance.
Is what? Oh.
Civil War.
Oh, that's cool. Pledge of Allegiance in the Civil War. I do solemnly swear in the presence of the Almighty. Why am I saying like that? What else you got?
2 consecutive letters. Kind of like important.
Yeah, it's historically important for Minnesota. I don't really like Hubert Humphrey.
No, but he's probably most famous.
Yeah, no, you are right. I think he's kind of a boring guy.
And this is also 2 letters by a guy who wrote important book, actually. His book published about 10 times in the United States.
Okay, this one I'm not interested in. How much do you want on this?
Couple hundred.
I'll probably have to pass. Because this is not going to be easy to sell, and I'm being really strict on buying this kind of stuff right now.
Okay.
Yeah, but it is cool. I'm glad you showed me.
And what is your offer?
Like $100.
100. How about 150?
I don't think I can get 150 on this. Plus, it's got writing right there. Which said.
I did it. Sorry.
You did that?
Yeah.
In your mind?
It's very easy to remove it.
Yeah, you damage the value quite a lot by doing that. Sorry to tell you. Yeah, I only want to. I do $100, but that's it.
Okay, I'll check maybe with somebody else.
Okay.
If nobody give me more.
Okay. Well, thanks for showing me. I do appreciate it. Yeah, $100 if nobody else wants to beat that offer.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. How about 125? And I give you my book with autograph.
Done deal.
Okay.
Cool. I appreciate it, Sergey.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. I'll see you. Man, this guy drove me. Oh. What is it with these people? So I came in here just now. I'm in late. I sent my guy home because he's been like doing overhaul this week while I've taken time off. I'm in here by myself and I'm like, you know what? The markets are crazy right now, and I would rather just go home and start another whatnot auction and generate sales instead of buying. I locked everything up. I said close for the weekend because the market's up. Silver's up like $2 today, which is crazy. So I actually I don't want to buy anything because it's the price is moving too aggressively. So I'm in here, I'm closing up, and the phone rings, and I think to myself, do I really want to answer it? Well, it could be somebody with scrap, and I do want to buy scrap because my margins on scrap are really good. So I answered it. Well, hello there. I'd like to inquire about selling a large quantity of precious metal. You fucking know I'm talking to some old boomer. What I'd like to do first is get familiar with the shop. I'm not looking to sell yet. It might be a couple years now. What? Why the fuck are you calling then? So I just kind of flatly say, well, sir, when we're buying, it doesn't matter about quantity. And I just said, just to give him an answer, we're buying at 98% of melt. Well, no, sir, I don't think you understand. This is quite a quantity of very high quality, low mintage, precious metal bullion pieces from Scottsdale Mint. Yeah, 98%. Because if you want the premium, sell it yourself. Again, it's been causing issues paying premiums on stuff. I'm done doing it. If you want the premium and stuff, sell it yourself. Do the work yourself. And I'm just like to shut this guy up because he's just going in circles. And I'm like, 98% of mil. Well, what about 98% of mil? Well, so I don't think you understand me. And he actually sounded like my cartoon boomer. Whoa, gee, whoa, whopper, wow. Premium silver. I bought it on Cable Shopping Network. What do you mean you won't pay up? So I'm trying not to hang up on this guy. And the point, I'm not just rambling here to complain. I have a point. The point is, when you're going to sell, be ready to sell. Are you ready to sell? If the answer is no, then don't waste somebody's time. You're taking a dump on somebody by wasting their time. I still, for the life of me, don't understand this person's mentality. And like, I definitely pissed him off, and I basically hung up on him because I was like, I kept just trying to shut him up because he kept wanting to like go in circles. And I was like, I'm gonna pay 98% a mil. When you're ready to sell, come on by. I'm happy to take a look, but over the phone, I'm gonna tell you 98% a mil. But I don't think you're hearing me. No, I don't think you're hearing me. I finally said to him, sir, I am extremely busy. You're not ready to sell. So I don't see the value in this conversation until you are ready to sell. And I'm giving you an answer right now to satisfy you. And that's 98%. No, young man, I really don't think you under. And I finally just said, sir, I didn't hang up, but I was like, basically was like, look, just come on by or shut up. So here's my point, you guys. Don't take up a shop's time. Don't come in and spin their tires. When you're ready to sell, be ready to sell and have a price picked out. It is a professional thing to do. Don't make me do all the work. Don't make me guess over the phone because like I gotta see it. And this just goes across the board. When somebody gives you an answer, don't try to get a bigger, better answer out of that. They gave you an answer. They gave you what they thought was satisfactory. I mean, if you have a question, sure. But again, be ready to sell. Have a price in mind before you're ready to sell. Because, you know, had he had a price in mind in his head, I would have said 90%. He would have said, well, I'm looking for this price. And then I would have said, well, maybe I can come up with me. Instead, it's just this like vague thing of like, I want to hear myself talk. And I just like don't have a clear, concise objective of what I want. I just kind of want to spin your tires and familiarize myself with your shop. Well, then come by. We're like, have an answer, but Jesus Christ, I don't have time for this. So conduct yourself appropriately. You know, if you want the premium, the best thing to do is to sell it yourself. I have a box here. Ugh. I haven't gone through this yet. I have a box here. I just got this today. And like, this is good premium stuff this person sent me. Like this probably retails for $100. It's a 2-ounce silver piece. I'm gonna offer melt plus a little percent over because that's what I need to be doing to make my margins here. On this piece, I'm gonna offer 80, just to give you guys an idea. And frankly, that's fair. So just have a price to get out. If you want the premium, do the work yourself. When you come to a shop like mine, you are taking the easy, quick way out to sell. I'm getting very frustrated with this, and you know, I kind of created this. You know, I gave a mouse a cookie. I kind of created this all myself by being so generous and being like too fair. I have been too fair to the point where it's hurt my business. So, new sheriff in town, everyone. Don't waste my time. Don't expect the crazy premium because it ain't gonna happen.
Listen to this. Listen to this. I shouldn't make fun of this person. This is just inherently, it's not funny. Listen for yourself. Listen to this voice. I got 2 voicemails. Listen to these.
I called yesterday and left a message. I would appreciate a call back regarding of something that y'all have charged me with that I did not buy. And I think maybe you need to call me before I turn everything over to the law.
I shouldn't be laughing. I'm sorry, but like, all right, here's the next one.
I have a charge on my debit card. I don't know who you people are. I don't know what you're selling, but I suggest you get my money back to me pronto before I go and press charges. And I would think that you would have enough guts, I guess, to call me back.
First off, I don't know how that person got my phone number, because I do guard it, or at least. Second off, why wouldn't you just call your credit card company or the bank? Why the are you calling me? Third, if somebody threatens you with a lawsuit, you're done talking to them. You cannot communicate with them anymore because anything that you say to them could be used against you. It's like talking to the cops. You gotta stop talking. My lawyer will talk to your lawyer. Once you're threatening me with something like legal, we're done talking. So here's what happened. I feel bad for her. That poor woman, somebody's using a stolen credit card. And they came in here, they wanted to buy, it's these 2. They wanted to buy an ounce of gold. And luckily we didn't have it on hand. I had a 10th ounce. This guy, the young guy goes, well, the gold market's up and I've never bought before. And I was like, oh, well, this is a great time to buy. And I'm like really excited and passionate about young people buying. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna sell this to you at cost because I want you as a customer. I want you to come back and keep buying more gold because it's a smart thing to do, and they're using a stolen credit card. So unfortunately, I had to take out a police report. I put out a reward. I'm offering a 1/10 ounce of gold for anybody who can get me these two as identities so that I can prosecute them. I'm sure they're going around doing this to other shops. I want to catch them. This is why I like to use my social media following. So far, nothing. I've made a video about them last week. I didn't even get any leads, unfortunately. Here's what sucks. They ruin credit cards for everyone here. I'm not taking, if you want to buy gold, you pay cash. If you want to buy it online, obviously the store is still working online. We have to wait a few days, make sure there's not a chargeback. You know, we need to really make sure that this doesn't happen again, because this could easily cause me a lot of problems. But in the store, cash only when you're buying gold. And high amounts of silver too. Unfortunately, these two ruined it for everyone, but it's what I gotta do to protect myself. And if you know who they are, 1/10 ounce of a gold reward. They were last sighted here in mid-May in Minnesota. All right, time to move on. Once again, you guys, I want to thank our episode sponsor, Bong Water Beverage Company. This THC-infused drink is available in Minnesota, Oklahoma, Missouri, Kansas, parts of Texas, and Wisconsin. Must be 21 years of age or older to consume. Visit bongwaterbeveragecompany.com to learn more about their product. Find out if they're coming to your state soon, if they are not there yet. And with that, you guys, so this topic, I actually auctioned this off on Whatnot. Starting bid was $30. That's kind of what I need to make it worth me doing all this research, and yeah, somebody bids. So if you guys want to choose the episode topics, visit me on Whatnot. If you don't have the app, download it with my code. You get a free $15 off your first purchase, and I get $5 for referring you. This is a little bit of a complicated topic, and I thought it was gonna be easy when I started researching and doing it. The person that bought this originally wanted me to just do like vinyl records and collecting vinyl records. I wanted to expand it just a little bit and do kind of a history of rock and roll, of musical culture, why we collect it, and some really good examples of both vinyl records, how to care for them, and other great music memorabilia items. I personally, you know, I used to collect autographs. I don't anymore, but I have this in my house. It's my pride and joy. I got that when I was 15. It was my gift for, I was on A honor roll, 10th grade. Signed by Pink Floyd, the band, and the director of the movie. It's worth low end $5,000, high end maybe 10. Let's start first with a brief history of collecting musical memorabilia. I was surprised to learn that collecting memorabilia was a staple of our culture and has been since like ancient Egypt. Wealthy individuals would collect items from famous people, famous groups, famous things. It was also popular in ancient Greece, ancient Rome, but it was really something that only the elites could do. Wealthy individuals collected things such as art, coins. We've covered both these subjects already. Other items of cultural historical significance were collected as well. Sometimes after a big battle would happen, either survivors or, you know, days later, individuals would come through the scene of the battle and pick out relics and go and sell those as collectibles. People were into that. It was a market. During the medieval period, religious relics became a big significance. Religious relics, both on paper, at least is what they thought, put you more in touch with God and also showed your piety. The more expensive memorabilia you had, the more closer, the more devout you appeared. A lot of these relics were stored in churches and monasteries. In fact, again, another subject we covered, the Vatican probably has the largest hoard of loot in the world. And a lot of these are old religious relics. A lot of these are relics like I was talking about from ancient times. They've been collecting because they know it's a great store of wealth. This is a staple of what we talk about with collectibles. It is a way to store your wealth. During the Renaissance, we saw an interest in collecting of manuscripts, artwork, antiques, and antiquities. And not only did it demonstrate if you were collecting religious relics, your piety, it also showcased if you were a scholar, your knowledge and your prestige. In the 16th and 17th centuries, cabinets of curiosities became popular. Again, this is demonstrating a diverse array of man-made objects. It's history from all over the world. It's, you know, as the name suggests, a cabinet of curiosities. Poor people couldn't afford it. Now, this started to change with the Industrial Revolution, with the introduction of the middle class having some kind of extra money. This continues into the 1800s, 1900s, and into the 2000s. The middle class becomes more solidified. The middle class starts to collect things too, just like the aristocrats used to. And with this, now we have the introduction of music becoming more stylistic, and that really happens in the mid-20th century with the introduction of rock and roll. With rock and roll, really every decade, it gets more solidified, very much like the middle class, like I was just talking about, but a lot faster. And you have distinct styles and distinct memorabilia to collect coming out of each different generation. Rock and roll originates from a blend of blues, rhythm, gospel, and country music. It really traces its origins to the post-World War II era, 1940s, early 1950s. Some of the big early names include, of course, you can imagine, Elvis Presley, who I personally can't stand him. Fats Domino, Little Richard, Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll. As much as I don't like his music, he really did kick in the door for rock and roll. He brought it to mainstream audiences with charisma, with charm, with, I guess, looks. As a bisexual, I don't think he's good looking at all, but that's just me. The first rock and roll record, though, was in the 1950s. Jackie Brenston and the Delta Cats, Rocket 88 in 1951. Bill Haley and his Comets with their hit song Rock Around the Clock from 1954 really started to make the movement of rock and roll come full stream into the mainstream. And you also have teenage culture becoming infatuated with it, starting to rebel. And this really, again, does have to do with the solidification of the middle class. After World War II, you have the great migration into the suburbs. The picture of, get the Studebaker, go get yourself a hamburger with your sweet lover. Daddy's got extra money, he's got a good job, he's a salesman, he travels. That's literally what my grandpa did in the 50s, he was a traveling salesman. When you picture the 1950s, that's like kind of what you picture. Like, Dad wears his suspenders with his pants up to here, Junior's up to no good, just got done with football, he's taking his best gal out for a malt shake in the convertible, and you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna listen to rock and roll. Oh, hamburgers. Part of even where I get that is it's satire making fun of the attitude of the adults back then, because the teens are up to no good. They're going straight to hell listening to that devil music. Teen culture is what gets rock going, and really we're gonna see this continuing with every single generation. It's the teen culture that continues to fire it, to add more momentum, to add more rebellion, to make it more sexy, more in your face. Rock and roll really is to hell with the establishment. I'm gonna do what I want. I don't know why I said it like that, because that's not very rocky, but you know what I mean. In the 1960s, we have the British invasion. This is the Beatles, this is the Rolling Stones. With the 1960s, you also have the onset of social change being demanded with the Vietnam War. Again, you have the youth rebelling against the establishment. You also have psychedelic rock. You have this introduction of drugs into mainstream culture. Hell yeah. You have teens using drugs. You have teens listening to things like the Grateful Dead, showing up at concerts on drugs, using drugs every day, like my dad. Actually, my dad was exactly like this, come to think of it. My dad did acid. He calls himself a day tripper. He says he did acid every day for like 2 years, which I definitely turned out just fine. Nobody could tell the side effects aren't evident whatsoever. Right, Pa? That's right. Boy, there's a loud voice going in my head. I don't know where that came from. Wish I could turn it off. This counterculture, this backlash against the establishment. I mean, the 60s were a really turbulent time. And again, we've talked about this again and again on here. This flows into the 70s, and you start to get new instruments, new different styles of sound. You have a new generation appreciating the music. The drug thing sure didn't go away, that's for sure. If anything, just the drugs started to change.
This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
You also get the introduction of hard rock, heavy metal, bands like Led Zeppelin. You also get the introduction of punk rock with bands like the Ramones, and you get arena rock with bands like Aerosmith. These are two unique styles that were not found in the 1960s that really were the top bands of the decade and really shaped the movement and the sound. The 1980s see introductions such as glam metal. They see pop culture changing due to technology. We have MTV launching, really taking the hold of the teen voice and pushing out the content to children or to the young people. The 1990s saw MTV getting bigger. You see alternative rock with bands like Radiohead. There's a punk rock revival, bands like Green Day, No Doubt. And you also have the grunge movement with bands like Pearl Jam and Nirvana. From there, 2000s into the present age, this is the digital age. This is where music is so mainstream, so easy to digest, consume, and find. All kinds of bands are out there. Like, it is incredible how many bands are on SoundCloud and Spotify that are independent that you've never heard of. So what is it we are collecting from rock music? Well, there's a whole lot of different things. Like I showed you guys that poster that signed autographs count, vintage instruments, concert tickets, autographed items like I said, and vintage concert merchandise. T-shirts, original artwork from concerts. Do you guys like the t-shirt game is unreal. It surprises me how expensive they can be. If you know what you're looking for, they can get really expensive and you can find them in abundance at the Goodwill. Also, vinyl records are important too. Here's a brief history on vinyl records. Thomas Edison invented the phonograph in 1877, and this used cylinders to record and play back sound. Emil Berliner in the 1880s invented the gramophone, and this used flat discs instead of cylinders. And the 1940s and the 1950s is the birth of vinyl. The 1960s and 70s are credited as the golden age of vinyl. This is where you have album art, you have concept albums, you have all these artists that are getting huge on vinyl. The masses are starting to buy vinyl. The 80s saw the introduction of CDs, compact discs, which declined in vinyl because they're more efficient. And the 1990s and the 2000s, we start to see digital music. We start to see the niche market start to rise. And from the 2000s to today, vinyl records start to become popular again because they're an old antique. They're collectible. So if you are going to be collecting vinyl records, it is one of the most popular forms of music memorabilia to collect. You need to store them properly. You need to care for them. There is a proper way to play them. Do your research. Don't just throw it on a record player if you get one or a vinyl player. Make sure you're doing it properly. They are not terribly easy to break, but you can break them, and you won't want to do that because it destroys your collectible. You can get them online. In fact, your best bet, I would say, is to come Facebook Marketplace because there's so many good deals on there. There are special cleaning solutions to clean vinyls with as well. You do want to take care of them. A vinyl record is kind of like a car. If you get a classic car, you have to drive it. A vinyl record, you should probably play it at least once. At least once a year, once every couple years, so it's not collecting dust, which can it can ruin it. However, you can't overplay. If you overplay it, you can also ruin it. So here are some examples that I found of some really expensive vinyl records. The Beatles' White Album, serial number 1. 2015 sold for $790,000. Elvis Presley's first recording from 1953, My Happiness, sold for $300,000. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band from the Beatles again. There was a signed copy from all 4 members. It sold for $290,000 again in 2015. Double Fantasy by John Lennon and Yoko Ono, who's one of the worst people to ever call herself a musician. God. The two of them signed an album together, Double Fantasy. That album sold for $150,000. And Prince, the Black Album, an original US promo copy in 2018, shortly after his death, sold for $27,500. I guess it was 2 years after his death. Side note, you guys, I live in Minnesota. I hate Prince because my mom was a famous makeup artist here, and she did his makeup, or she knew a lot of people that also did his makeup too. They have horror stories about him. He treated people horribly. You could show up every day to work and he'd randomly fire you for no reason. And he wouldn't do it. He'd always have the stage manager do this and say, get your things, you're no longer wanted here. Your services are no longer needed here. Anyway, so that's just a little bit about vinyl. Now let's finish out with some other really expensive music memorabilia. Michael Jackson's Thriller jacket should come as no surprise. Sold for $1.8 million in 2011, 3 years after his death, and it still smelled like little kids. At least it smelled like Macaulay Culkin. Sorry, can't help it. Elvis Presley's 24-karat gold leaf piano sold for $600,000. That was in 2015. The Beatles' drum skin sold for $2.1 million in 2015. David Gilmour's Black Strat in 2019 went for $3.975 million. And unsurprisingly, pretty much everything else dominating the list of the super expensive stuff is all from the Beatles. It's all fetching millions of dollars. And finally, to satisfy the person who paid for this episode, music memorabilia posters. What are some expensive posters? I couldn't find any records that were broken or really expensive ones, but this is what I came up with for some ones that you're probably going to want to have, and they're not cheap. Rolling Stone's 1969 American Tour poster. Depending on condition, and the thing with these things is condition. It's very much like an autograph or any other kind of brittle document, but they're thousands. Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, again, unsurprisingly, thousands of dollars. Bob Dylan's Harmonica Man poster from 1965. Led Zeppelin's Bath Festival poster from 1970. The Sex Pistols' God Save the Queen poster. Sorry, I can't say God Save the Queen without trying it like that. Jimi Hendrix's 1967 Monetary Pop Festival. Velvet Underground and Nico Andy Warhol poster. And there are more. These are just a few examples. Do you guys collect memorabilia at home for music? If so, what do you have? Tell me in the comment section. Do you have anything expensive? Well, that is the history and collectability of music memorabilia. Just like that, you guys, it is the end of the day, the end of the episode. Once again, if you want to support me, please consider becoming a Patreon. Again, I could use all the help I could get. It is really expensive to make this channel. Patreon.com/Pawnman. Again, I want to thank our episode sponsor, Bong Water Beverage Company. The links to Bong Water Beverage Company and my Patreon can be found in the video description. If you guys like this show, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Hit the notification button so you guys know when new episodes of Pawn Man, all the other great stuff we do here on this channel, are coming out. Visit pawnmanstore.com to purchase from me. You can get everything from bullion to my books. You can join my bullion club. Follow me on Whatnot. We are doing weekly auctions several nights a week. And with that, you guys, I will see you back here for another great video. Later, guys.